Cool. So when we go through here, we're going to build some foundations in Salon. So we'll start with your big picture. That will be on your lesson 1. So with this, we need to figure out how much you want to take, and then divide that by how many staff you have. And then you really should be having a team meeting with your team to figure out how you're going to get the money that you want. So let's just work on some mystery figures for us just for now. So if our mystery figures, let's just say you have a turnover of around 400,000, for example, and you feel that you're aiming to go for the big one and you want to go to 500,000 is your key, you need to divide your 500,000 by how many staff you have. So if you end up having 5 staff, you're going to be giving them like 100,000 target a year. And that's where you should be aiming for. If you sit down with your calculator and work out how can these people actually make 100,000. So you need to work out how many clients that they do a week, to work out how many clients they have a year, and work out how much they take at the moment. And then you'll work out your average client bill, and that'll work out if you get the two together, if they need more clients or if they need to charge more. So any questions on that? I went through really fastly through that. What about you, Joanna? How many questions on that?
I don't, because I've done all this last week and implemented all that last week.
Ah, awesome. How did it go? Did you do the big picture meeting with your staff?
Yes.
And how did that go?
Yep. Look, it was really basic. I just said what the salon needed to make to keep it open weekly, what their targets will be. Two staff members I lowered targets, and one I upped the target and up to commission as well. So last week she made, I think about 600 over her target, so she took 200 home extra in her pay.
Okay, so that's 30%, hey?
Yes.
How did that go?
Yeah, she is very happy.
Okay, cool. And do you feel that you got robbed by giving her an extra $200, or do you feel happy because you got an extra 4?
I feel happy because it's nice for her that she's rewarded and she's happy. So.
Yeah, cool. So with your meeting, you explained that your new commission structure would be 30% above the certain target that you set?
Yes.
How did that go down with the staff?
Well, with those ones I did them individually because everyone was different.
Yeah, that's cool.
So there was one girl who is just quite new, so I didn't up hers to 30. I've only done hers to 20.
Cool, that's good. I think that's I only tend to do 30 if they hit that 3 times their wage.
Wi-Fi that I can use briefly. I work next door, and I'm on a conference called Australia. Next door?
Hey, Tara?
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, Tara, do you have commission sets for your girls? Do you have, because are you all commission, or do you have anyone on wage?
Everybody is commission. The only wage is the receptionist.
Okay, cool. So
I love to hear that.
Yeah, so your girls would get a percentage, let's say between, let's just be conservative, let's say between 40 and 60% with their commission levels.
Yes.
Do you structure any bonuses that are in there as well?
I'm so sorry, Richard. There's so much interference I can't hear.
That's cool. Do you have any bonus structure in there?
I do not, although I at one time did before I bumped my manager's pay up in commission. When she was at a lower tier, I did have a bonus structure for after they broke 1,000, after they broke 1,500, after they broke 2,000 a week. But I kind of had nowhere to go or base those numbers off of to really feel like I knew what I was doing with it. So whenever I bumped her commission up for being a manager, I just did away with telling any of the newer staff about that because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, and I guess for for you, the harder they work, the more money they get anyway, because they're all on like rent a chair or commission that you call it. So
Right.
you don't actually need a carrot for them. I guess what you probably would need to do is when you set your target for both of your salons, you should play salon against salon to figure out who's going to get a certain bonus. So, for example, if you set one of your salons to $1 million and your other salon to $500,000 turnover, if they get above that figure, you need to work out how much commission you can give them back, maybe as a Christmas bonus or a half-yearly bonus. I'm not too sure.
Yes.
And I'll work that out for you and try and see if we can get some sort of idea through there. So with this particular lesson one that you have the big picture, I'm really glad, Joe, that you've done that and you got some sort of success with that.
Yeah, no, it was really good.
Yeah, I'm really good with that because it's what keeps my girls really focused for the year, because they know that if they work hard, they tend to leave. But I think we spoke about this before, that the carrot needs to be big enough so it doesn't break your back, but enough for them to feel excited when they get it.
Yes.
So also we need to figure out through here is a break-even point. So I think with you now know your break-even point, Joanna. So Tara, do you have a break-even point? Do you know how much you need to take per salon before you start making profit?
Yes, and you're putting me on the spot to quote me on it. I have it written down in another book, but yes,
Okay.
I did. I did the formula that I was always taught for that was like times 8 is barely getting by, times 10 is probably about even, and times 12 was getting ahead. So it was a basis of taking what I would use on all of our bills, and then a formula for the square footage and amount of stations I had.
Okay, cool. So in this particular module, I'll put it on the screen now for you. This is the break-even point through here. So what I want you to do, you can download this and fill it in yourself. So all you need to do is put in anything that's in white on the left-hand side, you can put in yourself. So put all your bills down that you possibly can, and it will actually give you your break-even point and how much percentage you'll need for profit. It will tell you how much you need per month and how much you need per week. And then once we've filled that in, I'll talk about the right-hand side, because there's actually how you can work out how you can increase your staff's pay and how you can increase very small little things that make a massive impact on the big picture. So if you have trouble filling this in and you don't know how to do that, you must message me, and I'll come and talk you through it one by one if I need to.
We actually did a formula the same as this for beauty school, so it looks familiar.
Yeah, awesome. It's really easy. You just need to know what your break-even figures. You need to know at the end of the week, or at the end of the month, or the end of the quarter, exactly if you're making profit or not, because you need to change something really fast if you're not. Yeah.
Yes.
Because I believe that when you have your break-even, you've got your wage in there. Don't forget the minimum you need to be earning is what you'd get paid as a senior. So Tara, if I employed you, how much would you take if I employed you at my salon? How much would you earn?
In dollar figures?
Yeah, like if I had a salon down the road and I wanted to pinch you to come and work for me, how much would it cost me to get you to work my chair, and how much do you think you'd pay yourself each week?
I don't really know how to answer. But I'm used to, like, for me, I'm used to judging it off of like sales dollars and retail dollars. So for me, I'm disappointed if I'm not at like 1,500 or 2,000 for the week in sales.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So if you work it out between, let's say, 1,600 and 2,000, you'd be pretty qualified enough to earn 50% of that, wouldn't you?
Right.
So you'd imagine that if you gave everything up now and you went down the road and opened a commission chair just for you, you'd earn between 800 and 1,000 a week, no matter what.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that should be the minimum that you pay yourself each week without fail, because that's what you're going to pick up regardless if you work for yourself or you work for a commission at another salon. That should be your minimum wage. Should be roughly around 50,000 a year. Has to be, and that's the same with Joe as well. I mean, the average stylist is on about 36,000 here, I think. So that's the minimum you should pay yourself, because that's what it's going to cost someone to get you in the door. It's what you're going to work for somebody else. That's what you get. Because what most people tend to do is they open their doors, they work out all their bills, they pay their staff, they pay their bills, and whatever's left over belongs to them. Where
That's exactly what happens.
yeah, and when you have that mentality, you then employ people that you don't necessarily need. Because if you pay yourself first, your bill second, your staff third, you'll then realize if you need that extra staff member or not. Because if you can't afford that extra staff member, you just don't employ them. But you still need your money. It has to happen. Okay, cool. So we'll work through that break-even section through there. Our next lesson number 2, we need to work out how much you want. Because this is the dreamy time. Remember, we're trying to build the salon of our dreams. So I know that some of you, I'm not sure if both of you love traveling. And I know, Joanna, you've been to the UK. But if you like traveling, you've got to pay yourself enough money to be able to afford to go to places, surely.
Yeah.
Yes. So you need to have this figure in your head. You need to know, because 98% of people in the world get paid about 2% of what they think they're worth. So if you thought you was worth 200,000 a year, your wage would be around 198,000 a year. It's all in your head. So you need to know how much you think you're worth. So you need to come up with this, how much do you need to make yourself happy? And then add that to your break-even figure. And then you have a new break-even figure, and that's what you need to set all your targets by. So, for example, let's just pick out, if Joe had a salon doing 400,000, she wants to pay herself 100,000, her new break-even figure would be $500,000. So then she needs to work out how to do the $500,000. It's very easy to break that down, but that's what we need to figure out. And if you've seen, I did a little video in there as well of how you can work this out. Have you seen that video? Anyone been there yet? How you can get this video through and you can work it out to... if you want a 15% increase or a 20%, you just break it off to everybody who wants it. And then it's your job and role. Hey, Nina, how are you? And it's your job and role to work all that out. It makes a difference to us. I want to put my video on. Cool. And it makes a difference to us if you show your staff members how they can physically make that money. You need to sort of break it down. You can't just go to them, we need you to earn 20%. You need to physically take every single step and hold their hand. So is that similar to what you did, Joe, when you did your big team meeting or your little team meeting with each individual person to explain? Did you break down how they can make it?
I didn't, only because I ran out of time, but I went through, I've included their retail in their whole target now, so they're not separate, and roughly they know how many clients they have to do daily.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I think if you break it down to small numbers, remember for us hairdressers, we like it very basic and easy. And if you explain to them that they just, if you explain to them their average bill is sitting at, let's say, $100, they only need 4 clients a day to hit commission. They can break that down pretty easy in their head. Then just shout at someone, you've got to sell more retail, or you've got to do 10% more to get a bonus this year, or your target's now 20% increase. They don't have a fathom or realization of how they can actually hit that. So by explaining to them you only need to do this, or you need to up your average bill by only $2, $4, or whatever it may be, they get that concept pretty easy. Okay.
I find things easier if it's broken down into daily.
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy, and it's a little bit like treating hairdressers like goldfish. I think that it needs to be very much done daily on a daily basis, and that's what I would suggest as well. Cool. Okay. So this particular module is actually all about your big picture, break it down to small pictures. So lesson 2 is all about setting your goal for the year, write it down, confirm it, and then once you've told me what it is, I'll be working out to try and make you guys reach that. So, like I know, Joanna, you've already filled yours in and you've explained to me what your new goal is going to be. I will be asking you how you think you're going to get that, and I want a bit of a plan of how you're going to actually try and achieve that.
Yep.
Like I think we had a chat before when I explained that, you know, you're the dude, you know, you're the lady at the top. You're the one who needs to know what fashion's coming in. You're the one who needs to know that all the girls are trained with the new styling products and the new styles and colours that are coming in. It's not down to anyone else, but down to yourself. So it's also how are you going to get your girls to hit their targets? It's how you can encourage them to do that. So,
Yep. I had a meeting with Paul Mitchell last week.
Yeah.
To book in trainings and keep on top of that as well.
Okay, cool. That's excellent. Was that with Chris?
Yeah, I'm only seeing Chris now. I used to see Tony.
Yeah.
But he's been my Schwarzkopf rep, he's been my Joyco rep, and now my Paul Mitchell rep, and I'm just a bit sick of seeing him.
No, that's cool. So I'm just going to explain to Tara what my explanation was to you. So Tara, my explanation to Joanna was the other day when we spoke to each other was that as a manager, it is your job to make sure every single staff member that's in your salon can do balayage to perfection. Yeah. And it's also if it's green is going to be coming in fashion, and you can follow the fashion from Milan to England to America, and then eventually it'll come over to where we are over here about 3 years later. But indirectly, it's your job when it leaves Milan and it hits the magazines, before the consumer brings in and says, I want, teal is the color to have. Your team need to be trained on that. Like, as a manager, it's your job to keep an eye on what's in fashion. Yeah.
Right.
What color do you use? Do you use Schwarzkopf?
Me, I'm a Redken.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So with Redken, for example, it's not down to Redken to teach you what fashion's coming in. It's you to nod and tell them, hey, I want training in this. This is the color I think everyone's going to be having. Because indirectly, in a dream world, Redken should know what comes out in Milan. Their top stylists are over there working behind the scenes, but they don't relate it to you until it's too late. You need to be above that. So you need to know what's coming in 3 months. You need to have a plan of how you're going to train your staff. So as a manager, it's your role and your job to do that, and no one else's. So
yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, that's just the way life seems to be with that. So yeah. So for me, it's you need to have your homework done. You got to teach each member of staff what their goal is per week, and you've got to have a tracking method that you tell them and helps your staff almost daily. And we'll cover that as we go through the modules to make life very, very easy for you. So with you, Tara, you won't need to do much of this work. You just pass this on to your receptionist. They should be doing all this for you, and your manager should be doing this for you. Yeah. Cool. Lesson 3 is team meetings. Now, this is imperative for me. When I decided to hold team meetings on a regular basis, I decided on a Friday, the busiest day of the week, to hold mine because every staff member was there. But for me, Friday is my biggest taking day. It's the day that my staff are pumped. It's the day that I get more upsells. It's the day that my systems don't fail down and they fail to break down more easily. So you need to choose a day. If you don't want to do weekly, you can do fortnightly or monthly. But you have to choose one day where you're going to do no one's hair and everyone just sits down and you chat.
Yes.
You know what? Boy, this setup sucks here.
I can hear you.
What works really good for us is the fact that we let the staff all voted on the best time and day, but we also use that as the celebration meeting. So not only did we introduce whatever the promotion was coming up, we also went over how the other one did, and then we celebrated who met or exceeded their goals, who had the most add-on services, who had the most new clients. But they had to beat themselves. Like if they had a goal of 6 new clients in a month, then if they had 6 or even more, then we would figure something out that was like a little celebration or a kudos, and everybody, then you say, well, how'd you do it? So they would share with the group how they did it. So they wanted to come. Well, the other thing was, too, we also gave out commission checks on retail sales.
Yeah, because I think the one thing that we got, I guess, remember here, I guess, with our salon, for example, is that you don't pay a wage. So when they're sitting there for free. Is that correct?
Yes.
We paid them. We paid our staff to be there, minimum wage.
Yeah, see, I agree. I think that's what needs to. I think that if you hold a meeting, you pay for them to be there. It also means that you're in control. If you say 10 o'clock, they don't come in at 10:05. You know, they come in at 10 o'clock.
Right.
The respect is there.
Correct.
Where if it's for free, they can come and go as they please. They can sit there on their phones. They can read magazines. They don't really care. So it's one of them things that you need to put into your financial budget, that if you're going to hold a meeting once a fortnight, once a month, and you need to do it religiously without fail, and Tara, you obviously need to cross time out and hold the meetings, this would be your key time to get them pumped up.
Yeah.
It's a bit scary to do that, but in my meetings, I do it weekly. I do 1 hour every week on my busiest day, and we will talk finances one week. We'll do role playing, or we'll do a cut and show. I'll do a haircut for people and show them the new technique that I'm going to try and learn and get them to learn. And so sometimes we have models in, but whatever that is in that hour is to be the benefit of them and them alone. So
right now.
They would only be monthly.
Yours is monthly, yeah.
Right.
I like mine weekly because I was a bit anal and I had things that I like to talk about all the time. So it's quite
How
good.
long were you, Richard?
Yeah, 1 hour.
What was it? That was what ours was too, an hour.
Yeah, we start work on a Friday at 10 o'clock, so they get paid. Girls get paid from 10 to 9. They come in at 10 to 9, make themselves look beautiful, tend to have breakfast. We sit down. Sometimes we'll go out for breakfast and have a meeting in a cafe. But like when we go through some of these modules, they involve the staff members. We'll work through that. So we'll have a new staff member. Like at the moment, because I'm exiting myself away from the salon, we have a third year that gets literally every Friday morning. She'll do a cut and blow dry for us, and we have a first year apprentice that's going through our role models. So I have things that I think is very anal and very important to the salon. So, for example, every single staff member that I have knows exactly every price of my retail, 3 ingredients, all the benefits of it, and who's it going to be used for. That was their second week of working for me. They need to know that. So there's certain things that I think that when a client turns around to a senior and asks a question, they need to know that answer. And somehow you're going to have to teach them because they don't want to learn. They just don't. They're not going to go home and do it in home life because they're stylists. You need to teach them in your time.
Richard?
Yeah.
Now, I had a policy that I never taught technique at the meetings. The meetings were all about business and communication. And if we were going to learn something, it would be about customer service or communication skills or something like that, but not hair technique. What's your take on that?
Yeah, so normally what I would tend to do is that we have what we call a training day. So I go in on a Monday, the salon's closed. I go in my day off, and I teach all the staff on my day off. They come in on their day off, and we do techniques without fail on the first Monday of every month. And we've done that ever since we've opened 10 years ago. It's optional. They can come and go as they please. I'll never force them. But somewhere along the line, you need to force your staff to keep their techniques up. So I always put 1 or 2 technical ones in there where they'll look and watch me do a haircut or the newest color, or the technical team will come in and they'll do it on that particular hour for us, because you have to pay them to come in by law. But if you do optional, they don't have to. I never force them.
Right. You know what worked really well, too, in keeping up their skill level is we would talk about who was really good at a specific technique, or if someone went to a class or something like that, they were in charge of sharing that with the junior staff members, and they actually retained more information from what they were learning, the senior members did. And a lot of times, because it wasn't me, then the junior staff were more open and accepting of learning a new technique.
Yeah, for sure. When ours come back from any training courses, they physically have to redo that course. Whatever they've learned, they've got to do it in front of the salon, to teach everybody what they've learned. And that way, by doing it the second time and the third time, that's really how they definitely learn. I agree with that.
Right.
Cool. So if you look at this picture, I'm not sure if you can see my picture through here. On your team meetings, I talk about the big picture with staff. I talk to each staff member. I talk about money. I talk about the systems. So, for example, if we have any complaints, and it might be something like we work in a very busy salon, and sometimes, for example, we got tint on someone's handbag. So we'll spend almost a whole hour talking about how could this never have happened? How's it never going to happen again? Let's do a role play if a client complains about it. How do we deal with this complaint? So if I'm not in the salon, how does a junior member deal with the complaint? So we anything that goes wrong in any of my systems, we spend that hour talking about it. I never hold a meeting without proof, so I always collect proof before I sit down. These are not bitch fests. So these are open meetings that we talk generally about things. So if we talk about targets, we'll talk about the salon target not quite being there. We'll never talk about the individual target not being met. So believe it or not, when you hold a meeting and you tell them the salon's not performing, or you rebook it down as a salon hold, the person who's letting the team down will know. They'll be sitting there cringing, praying that you don't bring them to the meeting. That's what happens. They'll sit there, and you should never make it into a bitch fest. That should always be a one-on-one afterwards. When you grab 5 minutes, call them in the back room and say, hey, you're falling below standard, and show them. And you need to give them a bit of a proof or a help of where they're going wrong and how they can improve. You can't just always tell them they're not hitting targets. They need that bit of extra going on. So Tara, do you hold meetings at the moment?
Right now, the way my meetings are going, I'll host a big meeting anytime it's relevant. Something major's going out and we need to get all up to date on it. Or we had a problem or a complaint in the salon that needs to be spoke about. Other than that, I do kind of like you do weekly. Whenever I go work at my second location on Thursday nights and Saturdays, I talk to the people one-on-one that are there before they leave for the day to catch up with them, since I'm only seeing them basically once, maybe twice a week.
Okay, and your little chat that you have with them, is it an official chat? Is it just like, hey, how's it going here?
No, it's generally numbers. It might be 1 or 2 pay periods before I see that person again, and so I talk about their goals, because I text them individually on payroll day what their goals are for the next week. And so I'll catch up with them if they were falling behind and say, okay, well, you're falling behind in your retail sales. What can I do to help you? We'll talk about whatever's new with retail or whatever it is that they're needing help with at that moment. It's generally almost like a smoke break. We go sit outside and we chit-chat while clients are processing about things that they can do to improve their dollar.
What happens if you made them cry?
What's that?
What happens if you made them cry?
I know. I do make them cry sometimes.
Okay, cool.
Sometimes they cry.
Richard, do you make them cry?
Yeah, I do, yes.
Oh, you meanie.
I do. I do make them cry. But not...
Yeah, mine cry most of the time.
I think sometimes I'm going to be sexist now, aren't I? I think sometimes for females, it seems to be their barrier. If I have a chat with them about if they're underperforming, sometimes they just tear up. So I try to do it maybe at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, not in between clients, but that's just me.
I try to keep it the in between client chats all of positive things, like giving them tips of how to market themselves, etc., and leave the tough stuff for definitely when it's time to go home.
Cool. I definitely feel like a meanie now. Hey.
Hey, I have a question, you guys. Does anybody put their weekly figures in with their paycheck? I mean, if you're paying them weekly or if you're paying them every 2 weeks, do you put their figures in, their service figures or retail figures, how much they did in cuts, colors? textures, etc. And the service to retail dollars were?
I do it weekly, and I just do it as a number figure, and we're in a secret salon group with the staff, and I put that up every Monday, and they get paid on a Tuesday morning. So everyone sees what everyone made, what everyone's average dollar bill, and what everyone's rebooking rate was.
Well, that's interesting. I don't think that would fly here.
Yeah, I got into a big staff confrontation over doing something similar that another coaching group had told me to do, basically like that, to put it up and do a salon meeting and to set a goal and chart the goals where everybody could see it at the meeting, and it didn't go over really well.
You know what we did, though, is every week when we paid our staff, they had their own personal numbers in with their paycheck, but we also had a salon goal, and that's what we posted was an overall salon goal, but we didn't break it down per person. It was the salon as a whole, and we tied it in with something that, like a goal that they wanted to achieve, whether it was a trip to Catalina, whether it was an extra bonus, or a cleaning lady more often, or whatever they decided on as a group. And then we would chart that every week until we actually did it. And we actually sent almost our whole entire staff, usually 2 or 3 at a time, to New York for training, doing that. But you know what? The numbers stayed up. They didn't drop again after their goal.
Awesome.
I get to do mine weekly, and mine goes on the back room, so everyone knows what they've took per. They know what the rebooks are. They know what the targets are. They know how much money each person got from the target. So it's very, very similar to yours, Joanna, except mine's in the back room.
Yeah, mine's on the fridge, but nobody knows, say, that Tegan's on 30% commission unless she tells them. So they're not going to go, oh my God, Tegan's made more, she's going to get paid more, like how unfair. Like that's all kept between myself and that stylist. So that's up to Tegan if she wants to tell them, and that's up to her, yeah.
Yeah, I guess with mine, I have mine where they'll look on the back room and they'll see how much extra money they're getting every single day. So on a Tuesday, they'll see what's predicted they'll get. So they'll look at it and think, okay, if I was there, I'd see every staff member and how much money they're on. Not what their wage is, but how much commission they're due to get. And we've always shared that from day one. And most of the staff that I've ever employed are happy if someone else has got more money because they know they've earned it. But I'm very fussy who I employ, and it seems to go down very well that way. But that's just me.
I would be curious to see if anybody in the U.S. is doing that, because usually they throw a hissy fit if you try to do that.
Yeah, I've always been open.
Say that again?
I've always been open for me, except if you asked me my wage, I wouldn't be open. But I'm generally quite open with commissions.
Right.
But
I always had an open book policy as far as finances go, but as far as their individual monetary goals, we always kept that private because that's what they always wanted. I mean, that was seriously a make or break deal for them.
Yeah. And I think it is like that over in America, but that's an individual choice. Whatever works for the salon is good. I always think open is good because I like a team event, and I think my team work really well with that. So I'm going to go back on track just for a second. So we need to figure out, and I will be nudging you all of some sort of area when you're going to do a meeting. So I know, Joanna, you're going to set yours. So Tara, I'll be nudging you to say, hey, when are you going to do your sort of meeting? Even if it's once a month, something that's set and everyone knows that Tara gets to talk.
Hey, you guys. I need to go back to the shop, and I'm going to lose my signal, so I'm going to try to get on my phone, but you might lose me for a little bit.
Okay, no problem, Neil. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so Tara, I need you. I will keep nudging you to commit to have some sort of meeting somewhere, but I don't know how you're going to work it out. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we can work our way through that and find out what's best for your salon, but we'll go through that. So on lesson 4, you'll see one of these basic data collections. I'm not sure what do you use at the moment to collect data. Do you have something similar to this, Joanna and Tara? Let's go with Joanna first.
Yeah, I can't see anything on the screen, but I've got Hairware.
Okay, cool. So what you'll find is that I'll give you a download sheet in this module to print off. And what I'd like you to do is if you have 4 staff, you print 4 off. And I want them to, every single day, at the end of the day, write down what they did.
Is it like an individual tracking sheet?
Yeah. So it's really,
yes,
really...
my staff fills out a weekly, like, staffing sheet like this.
Okay, cool, yeah. So...
and they even put how many ounces of color they mix.
They do?
Yes.
Is that because you build them for ounces of color?
No, but whenever checking inventory to make sure that they were accountable, because I felt like there was color walking out the door, when I started making them do this, there's not color missing any longer.
Okay, cool. If that works for you, that's fine. Yeah. I have a different way with color. It's just a bit more basic, I suppose. When they... I only allow them to have access to X amount, and the rest is stayed in a lock cupboard that gets out from a receptionist or a manager. So you know that if you've got 3 tubes per colour is enough to last you a week, then that should be okay, and then someone fills it all up. But that's a different matter altogether. But the whole idea of this basic data collection form that I've got for you is that you just need to start making, and it's a bit irrelevant, and when you finish with it, you can literally throw it in the bin if you want to. The whole point of it is to get your staff to start thinking about their service numbers. So it's just sort of working again with what Joanna was saying, how she talks to her team and lift the average ticket up or do an extra client. So what this works out really is just really quite basic of counting how many clients you do per day, how much the average ticket is, how much retail you sold per unit, and how much you spend sold per retail as in money-wise. And that's about it, really. And you can put your targets on the right-hand side. The whole idea is just getting them used to feeling and thinking about numbers all the way through.
I think it's good to see, because sometimes I even get surprised. I look at the printout and I think, oh, wow, like, I think last week we did like 110 ladies and 1 guy.
Wow.
Which is like 1 guy. Like, we normally do heaps of men, so that really surprised me.
Yeah. And if you're doing 100 a week, that's a great, for you, Joanna, this is a great average to aim for. 100 clients for your salon is the key.
Yes.
Yeah,
so we had a really good week last week.
Oh, awesome.
So we had 1 girl off sick last Saturday, so we would have made the salon goal if it wasn't for that. So there's always something.
Yeah, but I think if you get close, that's still pretty good, and it's a goal that you're aiming for is a good thing. They say if you think positive things come. I think you just see the things that actually happen. So for me, it's like if you know there's a goal, there's a good chance you're going to get close to hitting it.
I think our goal's very, very achievable. So yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I think the amount of staff you've got and the amount your goal you're after is very achievable. Do you have a goal, Tara, of what you think your salons are after, like Salon 1?
Yes, I do. And again, like I said, they're in a notebook up under everything right now,
okay,
where
cool.
I have it all written down. But Salon 1 is catching up now that I'm back in that salon working mainly full-time in that area. And the second salon is actually ahead, even for the projected 10% increase for the year. They look like they're on target to be ahead. So this will be the first month that I have a year-to-date on it since it opened September 1st.
Okay, cool. And
because we had like a few weeks of soft opening in August that I can like count.
Yeah. So how many staff do you have at Salon 1?
There's 2 full-time and 1 girl that's there 1 day a week aside from me.
Sorry, say it again for me. I'm writing that down.
There's 2 full-time.
Yep.
And then 1 girl is there 1 like 6-hour shift a day.
Oh, so very
like
part-time.
for 1 day a week.
And that's Salon 1?
Very, very part-time. Yes.
Okay,
and I just
cool.
hired a girl today that'll be starting in 2 weeks.
Full-time?
For Tuesday through Friday.
Okay. And Salon 2?
There is... Oh gosh, I'm trying to count them. 1, 2, 5 stylists.
Okay. Awesome. And what's
and
your
then
average
1
bill over there?
receptionist that is half.
Okay, 1 receptionist.
About $68.
Okay. Okay, so that's still pretty good.
I'm thumbing through all my notebooks trying to find where I wrote all that stuff down.
Yeah, cool.
Like just figuring it.
Yeah. I'm trying to work through them myself, so I think you're quicker than I am. So yeah, cool. So 68, I think, from where you are is not a bad average bill. And if you've got 68 for your average bill, you'd imagine that you're doing 4 clients a day?
Yeah, a minimum.
Okay. So your second salon should be getting close to around 7,000 a week now.
Shit. I think the last time I ran monthly, it was at 25,000 for the month.
Okay, cool. So yeah, near enough. That's what. Yeah, I get mine to about 28,000. So yeah, 25. Okay, it's only a little bit short through there then. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Okay. So Nina, have you joined us? Can you speak? No speak. Okay, you can probably hear me, but you can't speak through there. Okay, that's cool. So with our lesson 4 through here, we need to start collecting some data. Really, when your staff start thinking about numbers, your average bill and your average ticket will rise quite quickly. So that's what we probably aim to do in that session through there. So, and then our last one and our last and finale is lesson 5. And that to me is to do with trying to get you to put the manager's hat on. I think, Joanna, we spoke to Tara earlier on today when she joined us in the first meeting about how when she sort of, not stand up for herself, but when she starts implementing certain rules in the salon and doesn't move the goalposts, the fact that she thinks life easier, but also the fact that other staff members are starting to respect her in a different way is what Module 5 is all about. So lesson 5. So what that's all about is really you standing up to your role as a leader. So for me, for example, how I did this one, when I did my very first meeting with my girls, I told them all the rules and regulations of the salon, and I told them they can do whatever they want. Like you'll see me write on Facebook, I don't care if my girls want to go out for a cigarette every 5 minutes. I'd never have a problem. If my girls want to look at their phone every 2 minutes, I don't have a problem at all. So my staff can come and go as they want. They can even go and disappear for 2 hours. I don't have an issue with my girls. It's almost like, not like they own the place, but they have this respect that they can do whatever they want, and I won't tell them off for nothing. But like you heard me say earlier on, I do make them cry. Because I have certain guidelines that as long as they don't fall below the standard of what's expected of my salon, they literally can do what they want. It's almost like they're a booth renter, for example. They can do whatever they want. If they want to go and see their children at school at 3 o'clock and we don't close till 7, they can just go at 3. I'll still pay them till 7. I have no qualms. I'll pay them all the way up till it's there, and I don't care about paying them the money. The difference is the fact is that as long as they don't fall outside my guidelines, that is, my guidelines is the key, and I don't bend them for nothing. My guidelines are set in stone and they don't move. Do you find that a bit strange, what I've just stated?
You must have quite strict guidelines.
I have a guideline that I set up that, like when a client walks through my door, they get seen to within 20 seconds. So if they can manage to be on their phone and still watch the door, I don't have a problem. So what they do tend to do, yeah, you see, they can't do everything, but what they do tend to do is that they naturally organize themselves, which saves me doing it. So, for example, if I get 2 staff members that have a 10-minute break and one wants to go to a cigarette, one has to watch reception.
Yep.
And that they just organise themselves. You stay on reception, I'm going to go for a smoke. They both won't wander down themselves and go and do their weekly shopping. So once the guidelines are in, they know how far they can push, and then they'll push it as far as they can. But if I don't move the goalpost, then we're all pretty good. So if they do, I nip it in the bud really, really quickly, and I stick my manager's hat on. So what I tend to do is I'm just one of the guys there. I'm one of the team. We work well together. But if I find that they've crossed the line for any way, I'll get proof, and then I'll ask them for a quick chat. And a quick chat will be, hey, why did you leave the salon on its own? Or why did you turn up late for work when you knew you were the key holder? Or whatever it may be. So it's knowing what your guideline is. They need to know what the guideline is, because most of the time they think the guideline's blurry, because sometimes if you're in a good mood, you let it go. And sometimes if you're in a bad mood, you jump on them and they just think you're falling out with your boyfriend or your husband or whatever it may be. And you're just in a bad mood today, or their retail figures are down, you're picking on them. So I don't tend to have any of that, because they know my guidelines are set. And we will be setting guidelines. I think the next module will be all about guideline setting. So we will be setting them down, and it's trying to stick whatever you feel works for your salon. So I will give you guidelines of what you should have, but only you know your salons better than anyone else. Do you have guidelines in place, Tara?
What is that?
Do you have guidelines in your salon?
Yes, I'm pretty strict with guidelines.
Okay, cool. And for me, when I talk about systems, and you sort of, what I do is I train them on a system, I build the system up, I lock it into place, and then that becomes a system when I don't have to run it anymore, so I own it. Like I have a few people in the UK that I talk to about, they have issues with cleaning at the end of the day. If the owner's not there, it doesn't get cleaned. Well, my system's in place, it's written down, they all know it. Excuse me. So they tend to know.
If it's not done, what happens?
Oh, if it's not done. So, for example, I come in on a Thursday, it's my first day of work, and the place is a mess. Yep. I don't say anything. I don't see anything at all. I just wait for everyone to turn up for work. Then I ask them to clean the salon before the clients come in. And then on the Friday's meeting, I'll explain to them what went wrong with the system. How come it didn't get done? And they'll all point at each other and go, it wasn't me, it was her, it was her, it was her. But you have to be... But when you bring it up, and I'll explain to them, do you want to role play how to clean again? This is boring. We could be spending this hour learning a new technique, or we could be doing something more exciting. But do you want to spend the hour learning how to clean? They'll go, no. So it's really just making sure that this is what I expect. And then I try and explain to them what, from a client's point of view, if you come in and get a dirty cup, that is enough to make them not come back to have their hair done because they think you're dirty.
Yep.
So it all bounces back to their wage and their commission and their earnings, and it's very small things that make no difference. But that's how we do it. I don't shout, I don't scream, I don't do any of all that. There's no need. We just literally, I nip it in the bud quickly. So sometimes, for example, my girls have the keys to my salon, and they'll come in on their day off and just do their own hair. So like on a Monday when the salon's closed, they'll go in, and sometimes I'll leave a mess. So on Tuesday, someone will sort of say to me, "There's a mess here on Tuesday." I'll have a chat with them, and they'll explain why. 9 out of 10
Because they just
times.
stupidly forgot. Like,
Yeah, but it's knowing for a fact that you're going to follow through. So I guess it's like having kids, and you've got to treat them a bit like children. If a children does something that you think that's wrong and you let it go, that child will do that again, and it will push you to the limit. But if you actually make draw a line in the sand and say, this is as far as I go, they'll only push you once to figure it out. I'm a stickler with. I remember I had my daughter when she was 14. She went through a wild child time, and I remember she used to be 1 minute late. 10 o'clock was our curfew, and she would walk in at a minute past 10. So I'd say, not a problem. Tomorrow you come in at 1 minute to, and then the next day she would come in at 3 minutes past. So we'd wake it 4 minutes to, and we'd go on like this until she ended up coming at 8 o'clock. And in the end, I think we ended up grounding her. But I really felt bad. It really was ridiculous. I was arguing over a minute, but when it comes down to it, what I was really arguing over was respect.
yeah.
And when staff do this, the ones that break it just don't have respect for you. So, and they will have respect if you're going to rule your salon with an iron fist, or if you're going to rule it with kindness. But they just need to be ruled. Like we said before, you just need a leader, and you've either got to be the leader or someone will stand up and be the leader. And if you're not the leader, you'll find out you'll get these little cliques in your salon and someone's leading your team. So if it's not you, it's going to be somebody else that's there taking your role. So for me, I want to be the leader. I want it done my way. And I'm quite honest with my staff, because when I first take them on, we have an interview process, and I say, the day that you think you don't want to come to work for me anymore, just let me know. I'll pay your notice, and I'm happy to let you go. I'll never want to keep you longer than you think you need to be here, because I don't want not one staff member working for me who doesn't want to be with me. But I do state that it's my way or the highway. That's the only thing that I stipulate. Whatever I do for the good of the salon, I do for the good of the team, and then I do for the good of me, which I think I explained earlier on. So they know when I make these decisions, if they don't like it, it's not for me, it's actually for the team, and they'll see it in the end.
Yeah.
Cool. Any questions on that?
No.
Are we all good?
I did find my notebook of all my goals, though, so I will screenshot you a photo afterwards.
That'll be awesome. Please do that. And I'm thinking, I think I was saying to Julie after, because I went out and had a break, and I think I left you guys talking, and I spoke to Julie, and I was thinking I may try and do a bit of a workshop in the middle of the month. So halfway through this month, I might just do a workshop on break-even point or setting targets, and I'll just set a date, and I'll dive in, and I'll work my way through it. I'll either record it and I'll stick it on Facebook, or you guys can dive in and watch and talk if you want to. Because I'm just feeling, as I'm going through this, that a month is too far for me.
Yeah.
What do you guys feel?
I like being able to have more interaction.
Yeah, like I have a bee. Do you know what, any of you guys know what a BHAG is? Do you know what a BHAG is? Am I just making that up?
I've never heard of that in my life.
Really? Okay. Maybe it's just me then. I have this thing where it's a BHAG is your big, hairy, audacious goal. It's like, what's the biggest dream that you can get? So for me, I have this vision, and it's I ask you to set goals, and I can only do the same myself. So I have this big, huge goal, and it's written down. I've told my wife it, so it has to happen, because otherwise it makes me look a fool. And now I'm telling you guys, and then I'm recording it, so it's going to make me look a bigger fool if it doesn't happen. My aim when I started this was to have the biggest salon coaching in the world in 5 years. So that's my BHAG. So that's my biggest thing that I'm aiming for. So I've gone forward 5 years and worked my way back to figure out how can I get the best coaches to get me on board and to train each individual staff member, because I have this vision where I want a minimum of 100,000 wage to every single person who owns a salon. And I've said it from day one, and I still say it, and I get slated, and that's my aim, because I'm sick and tired of hearing about people that don't pay themselves any wage. And you know what? They put their marriage through an awful lot of stress. Their kids miss out on a lot of fun time, and it needs to be a reward at the end of it. It needs to have a big reward that you can do, either pay your house off or go lots of holidays. But a lot of salon owners, they see them in year 5 and year 10, and They don't get anything. So that's my BHAG. My BHAG is that. So my aim is to earn enough money doing this to get all my coaches together somewhere in the world once a year, and I'm going to pay for them to come and join me somewhere in the world. That's the plan. So that's a huge BHAG for me.
That is.
It is huge, but I need a big BHAG. I'm afraid I need a big goal to aim for, and that's what I do. So I choose the biggest thing I can find, and I'll try and make it happen, because I can only work with a goal, and then I'll break that down to small ones. So I'm on the same path as you guys, believe it or not. My aim is to work and find as many coaches as possible that do that. You guys haven't seen it. Do you know what you guys are doing? I think I've even told you that you've got me off on the right one now. Look, I've started a new course that starts again in another week. So you're on Team Argan and Team Bounce start in a week's time. And then we have Team Curl starting in Jan 1. So we have 2 of the courses that are going on. I don't know if I've ever sent you the modules that we're actually working on. Have you ever seen what you're going to be working on next?
Yes.
No.
Cool. So like, for example, you know what module 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is?
What is that?
Where is it written?
Yes, it's on my webpage. If you're on my webpage and look at my modules, you'll see the course, and it's in there. Because you guys are, you're the first, right? So you're like a pilot show on the telly. So you guys are doing so you guys got in here at a really good level. So I didn't charge you as much as normal people, and you're really writing my course as I go. Because all these modules I have here, I do one-on-one with all my coaching in general. And what I've decided to do is put it into a teaching session, put in what I think is there, leave out what's too hard to do in a month. And I'm monitoring you as you go. So if you guys don't do your modules, am I giving you too much work? I need to make it smaller for the next group and give them less work, if that makes sense. So you guys are definitely writing my course for me as we go, for the next one, which is going to start in a week's time, and they'll go.
Can you just take out the branding module?
Take out the branding module? Is that a hard module?
Take out the USP. Take out all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid they need to be in there, and they need to push you past your soft boundary. I'm afraid, and it'll come eventually. But yeah, it's one of the ones that yeah, and like I say, you're the ones who are leading the way for the next lot that are going to come through. And I'm not sure if you look on my webpage, you'll see there's a module 13. And you haven't seen that yet. So module 13 is something completely different. So I'm hoping at the end of my module 12, I get at least one person out of this group to do module 13. That's what I'm hoping. Yeah, so that's my BHAG. That's my aim, and that's where I'm hoping to take it through. So I'm really glad for you guys. I meet with I purposely picked 3 to 4 salons around the world to figure out what I teach. Is it good enough for you guys? And it is. I feel that a month is too much. So like I said, I'm going to try and do every fortnight, put a session workshop in there so we can just dive in, and we don't necessarily just work on every single lesson. We just work on one thing, or generally have a chat through there. Because I think sometimes, like I think with Tara, we've spoken before, and I think Joe, I spoke to you last week. Even I feel better as a coach when I've done that one-on-one coach with you, thinking, okay, I think she's going to get through this pretty easy now. What's that chat?
It does help.
Yeah. See, I know my one-on-one coaching people find it really easy because they get me for an whole hour and we talk about one particular subject and we master it, and then I help them throughout the month. So that's really easy, but not everyone has that sort of capability of paying that sort of money or dedicating that sort of time that I have. Hence why I did the group, because otherwise, if I do one-on-one coaching, I can only help 40 people. And like I said, my BHAG is to help as many as I can. So that's why I've gone into the group coaching, to try and, throw my net out and actually change all of you, which is my plan. So yeah, if you've got any questions you want to talk about before we wrap it all up, we can do that. If you've got any issues that you want to talk over, we can do that.
I'm all good.
We all good? Cool. That's awesome. What time is it over where you are, Tara?
It is 8:40.
8:40. Okay, cool. And do you drop your husband back at work? Is he working?
No, he's not. He works solely for me in the salons now.
Okay, cool. Is he a finance guy? Is he a numbers bod or prior to hairdressing?
He would be better suited for numbers.
Okay, cool.
He wants to learn hair, and that's fun, and he can do that for fun if he wants, but he's going to be better suited. Customer service wise, he's been really great. That's why I'm moving him from my original location to the larger one and letting him take over the girl I'm letting go's job as reception there, because he's been really making a difference in customer service and on the phone. So I'm going to let him kind of take that and run with it.
Oh, awesome. So for me, we call that like a maitre d'. He's the guy who's actually running all the systems in place.
Right.
That's a really important role to have, to make sure that the clients and the staff are both happy, trying to keep them both happy. Like a big restaurant, you get a restaurant, you'll get the top waiter, who's like you call them a manager or a maitre d'. They're the ones that runs it all and makes it all very smooth. That's a good job for him to do.
And with him being, it's his money too.
Oh,
who better to look after it than him? So.
Yeah, for sure. When we get on to modules later on, do you want him to join us?
Yeah, a lot of times I'm like, hey, do you think that you could join? And he's like, tries to come and listen, but then he's down there tackling the kids so I can have quiet when I'm doing this.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah, he will eventually be getting in on some with us.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, okay, cool.
We don't have a nanny at the time.
Okay, that's cool. I think having someone to wrestle with is pretty good. I know Joe leans on Lee, which is really awesome as well. I think that's a great thing. I've always worked with my wife, so my wife became a colorist. I trained her in coloring and cutting many years ago when our children got to mid-school, and then she came in a few days a week until we came to this country, and then she just hated the Australians. She detested them. Yeah. I think the fact is, Joe probably, and you probably know very similar to this. We came from the UK. I had all these systems. We were a high-end salon 10 years ago where we are. People didn't want to wash. They wanted a dry haircut for $20. We didn't do that. And in this country, when we arrived, I think everyone was having just 3 foils. And we just couldn't get our head around. We only ever could run a full-service salon. So we found that really quite hard. So we just thought, we put adverts in the paper to get clients, and we must have got every miracle chaser on the planet. And it's a bit like if you put in there free haircuts, you know what sort of people you're going to get. Well, we put 50% specials for 10 weeks solid, and every single client was just a whinger or a moaner. And I think it just drove my wife insane, and she just said, I can't work here. So it just took us about 2 years before we actually found our real clients. And that's why I never suggest you stick a special out. I like specials, but they have to be there for a reason. I like internal specials more so than external. I like to either do a special for my clients who can't afford me, or a package for clients who can't figure out that they can get in, need a special occasion to come in. Very rarely you'll see me do Groupon or anything like that. In fact, I've never done that after my first 10 weeks here. But it's just one of the things that I think that if you start going down that road, it's bad. And I know here went crazy for Groupons, but I think they've gone now, thankfully.
Yeah, we've never done them either.
Yeah, it's not. But yeah, so I think working with a partner is a great thing. I think it's awesome. I've always done it. All my work gets done here. My wife tends to, if I give her a chance, she gets to look at it and how we do all the modules. So it's really quite good. So I've always had that relationship, and I always think it's been special. So when I hear about husband and wife's teams, I think it's awesome. I think it's a great thing. And didn't you say Joe Lee would like to do hair one day? He's not in a hairdressing body there?
Yeah. He's too tall to stand up all day.
Really?
He's 6'5".
Yeah, he definitely is. That is definitely weird. He'd have a hunchback before you know it. He'd be over them basins, or he'd be the chair's going to go down so far.
Exactly. No, he doesn't do anything in the salon.
Yeah, cool. All right, cool. So it's been awesome talking to you guys. I'm going to let you go, so I'm going to stick my next blog on Facebook so I can get to work on that. Yeah, and hopefully we'll see you. Hopefully within 2 weeks, I'll try and connect somewhere along the line, and I'll put a workshop on for you guys to dive in if you need to, because I think having a chat one-on-one is good. I know sometimes we don't connect, Tara, because like you go to bed when I get up and vice versa. But
right.
Some days like this, and I finish working, I'm counting 10 weeks down, which I can't wait. I'm on the countdown now, 10 weeks and I'm free, which is awesome. I'm going to try and do something through there.
What time is it where you are right now?
Say again?
What time is it where you are now?
Yeah, it's 11:45 in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm gonna offer something to you as well, Joanna. In about 11 weeks' time, we'll see how we go. I've got a few salons that want me to pop into their salon and do an evaluation in there and book me out for the day. So if you after November, I think it's the 14th, I'm going to do a month where I'll open myself up for people really cheaply to go in for the day and evaluate their staff, evaluate their team, their work, and everything else.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I can't offer you that, Tara, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's quite a ride over.
But anyway, that's in New South Wales. I'm going to pick about 4 or 5 salons. I've got a few salons that are up the coast and a few salons that are down. They've contacted me and I've been, I'm not going to be working. I want to do that. So it'd be really good to try and put in the price bracket for these people to do it. It just means that I can do a real SWOT on the salon. I can sort of see exactly how the staff are talking to their clients and where they should be putting things in. It really gives an evaluation of the salon pretty quickly. It should be pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I think it's only just to relieve my boredom before Christmas, I think that's all it is. Because I'm getting Christmas off, and it's very rare I get Christmas off. I'm thinking, what am I going to do? And I can't wait to spend 5 days a week in here. Like I said, I would be to my 3rd course by then, and we'll see how it goes. So yeah, I've started to waffle a bit too much now. I need to get on my work. So it's been great talking to you guys, and it always is. It's always a pleasure to talk to you too.
Thank you.
Not a problem. If you're here, Nina, I know you can't talk, but goodbye as well. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.